Libs of TikTok doing some investigative journalism. One of the only people in the country doing actual investigative journalism. And what she's doing here is, you would think that if there were real journalists working for these supposed news outlets, that one of them would have done this. Given that there's this conversation about children's hospitals and so-called gender-affirming surgeries and procedures, and which of those procedures do they inflict on minors and which do they reserve for adults? Well, a good way to find out is to just call them, not as a member of the media, but just call them and ask. That's exactly what Libs of TikTok did, and let's start going through this audio here. This is what, by the way, this is the, I don't know if I mentioned, this is the Children's Hospital, what is this? Children's National Hospital in D.C. Okay.
Thank you for calling National Hospital. Your call may be recorded for quality assurance.
I was calling for information about gender-affirming hysterectomies.
Okay, you said gender-affirming hysterectomy.
I've been in touch with quite a few hospitals, and a lot of them, they said they won't do it for my 16-year-old, and then I was told that this hospital might, and I also saw it on your website. So if you guys do it for a 16-year-old, I would be happy for, to come for a consultation or whatever it takes.
Let me get you over to the operator, and I hate to transfer you.
I just want to know if you guys do service that age, before coming all the way for an in-person consult and going through all the paperwork and everything.
Yeah, it depends. Like, each department is different. Some departments cut off at 18. How old is your patient?
16.
Okay, all right, so they're in the clear. I'll email Dr. Call and see what we can do. In the meantime, if you still want me to transfer you, I can still transfer you to surgery.
All right, so pause it there for a sec. So we've already heard from the operator. Oh, well, she said it very clear. You're in the clear. At the age of 16, you're in the clear. Now, this is very different. If you were to call, and this is the investigation that media outlets have done, where as members of the media, they call the hospital's PR department and say, hey, you're being criticized for doing this awful thing. Do you actually do that thing? And then the hospital say, no, we don't do that. And then the media says, well, you see, there it is. They would never lie to us. End of discussion. But if you call them as a potential patient/customer willing to give you your money, you get a very different answer. Conversation continues. Let's play a little bit more of this.
Hi, I was calling because I'm looking for information about the gender-affirming hysterectomies that you guys offer. Am I in the right place?
Okay. Yes. This is the clinic. Did you want to make an appointment?
So I was just wondering. I've contacted quite a few hospitals already. It seems like it's difficult to find one that does the operation for my 16-year-old, and I was told that you guys do that. So if you do it for 16-year-olds, then yes, I'd love to schedule an appointment, a consultation, whatever you need.
If you don't mind me asking, what is your child gender change into, so I can point you to the right direction?
Wait, pause it there for a second. What did your child's gender change into? This is someone at the hospital, in the relevant department, asking that question. What did your child's gender change into? What? What does that mean? And by the way, so it's like, because they're right, there's not just two options. So hysterectomy means that we're dealing with a girl, we can assume. So maybe the hospital worker knows that much. But she's not a girl anymore, but maybe not a boy. She could be something else. It's also like, why does that matter to you? I mean, is there, what difference does that make? Anyway, let's continue.
Yeah, well, he transitioned to male. He already had the top surgery, and now we're looking for the hysterectomy.
Okay, beautiful. So I'm going to transfer you to the GYN nurse line. One of the nurses will give you a call to give you more information and to let you know the steps and the protocol that they do for that, okay?
Okay. So they would do it for that age?
Yes.
All right, there you go. That's it. Good. So confirmed with 2 people, the hospital operator and then someone in the relevant department. Yes, they do gender affirming, quote unquote, hysterectomies for 16-year-olds right there from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Now, this was published, and shortly after that, Children's National Hospital put out a statement. And here's their statement. We are aware of the audio recording circulating on Twitter. Here are the facts. We foster a welcoming and inclusive environment for all, serving our LGBTQ plus patients and families in the full spectrum of their care. We do not provide gender-affirming surgery for anyone under the age of 18. We do not provide hormone therapy to children before puberty begins. Care is individualized for each patient and always involves families making decisions in coordination with a team of highly trained pediatric specialists. Now, once again, the media is taking that and saying, well, see, debunked. We have on tape the people at the hospital saying, yes, we do that for 16-year-olds. So either the hospital is lying now in an effort to cover their ass, which, by the way, that's the correct answer here, or the people at the hospital were lying. Someone's lying. The hospital is lying one way or another. The person who wrote this statement was lying, or the people at the hospital that you heard in the clip there, they were lying. I mean, does the hospital have a policy against doing gender-affirming hysterectomies for 16-year-olds, and yet they were going to do it anyway? Well, that's a scandal, too. I mean, no matter what, the hospital doesn't come out clean here. And yet the kind of hopeless feeling that you get, as always, is that even though it's right there plain as day, it just doesn't matter. There's no further investigation from any relevant authority. This is in D.C., okay? You think the mayor of D.C. is not going to put any pressure on this. The police aren't going to show up. And really, the entire statement is mind-boggling. What about this part here? We do not provide hormone therapy to children before puberty begins. Okay. What's the significance of that? You don't provide hormone therapy to children before puberty begins, but you do provide it after puberty begins or when puberty is beginning. They're still children, though, aren't they? This is something that I've heard from trans activists, actually, not the first time. This is something I've heard frequently over the last few weeks, especially as they've been denying that these things are done to children at all. And I've heard this. Well, this isn't done to children. It doesn't happen until puberty. What do you mean? So we're talking about 11 and 12-year-olds or even younger. You don't see them as kids? Well, the answer is they don't. And now you start to get the full picture. Maybe you start to understand what's really going on here. And this is how this all gets wrapped in with the normalization of pedophilia. There's a reason why that is happening. Kids at drag shows and all the rest of it, the sexualization of children, the normalization of pedophilia. This is all happening at the same time as the gender-affirming surgery, so-called gender-affirming surgery. All this is happening. It's all part of the same program. Because you can hear them saying it right there. It's like, well, actually, 12-year-olds aren't even children. As you can see, they're setting the stage here. And then let's also keep in mind, and I think it's important to expose the fact that they're lying about the hysterectomies. And I'm glad that we have this investigation that confirms that. But let's also not allow them to make the whole conversation about the hysterectomies. Because it is probably true that most hospitals and clinics in America, at least officially, don't perform that particular procedure on minors. That's probably the case. At least not officially. But that is only a small portion of the overall picture here. They all do top surgery. They all do double mastectomies on kids. All of them do. That's not any better. So what they're saying is we will mutilate certain parts of the child's body, but then other parts we wait until, they're right when they turn 18. That is not better at all. That is not a good excuse, not even close to a good excuse. So let's not they want the whole conversation to be focused around the hysterectomies because they feel like they're on the safest ground there. Although the whole concept of gender affirming a hysterectomy is horrifying, they know that generally that they do wait till 18 for that. They don't want to talk about the top surgeries because they're doing that to 13-year-olds. If you want to join my exclusive fan base or a cult, that's what it is. We're forming a cult. Then all you got to do is click the subscribe button and ring the bell below this video to stay up to date with all of my content. And if you want even more, you can watch or listen to my show at thedailywire.com, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Looking forward to welcoming you to the Sweet Baby Gang.